Hello there, I'm Dark Shades. Welcome to my channel. You can subscribe, you can like, you can dislike, you can share with your friends. Share, because when you share, somebody might subscribe. And that helps keep my channel going. But yeah, what am I going to talk about today? This channel is mainly about relationships. I do have another channel called Blackbrightnews where I talk about social and political issues, things that affect us in that way. But I'm going to start with this channel, Dark Shades. I'm going to keep that now for relationships. So historically, you'll find some political stuff in there, but now I'm going to keep it strictly for relationships. And if you do want me to talk about anything whatsoever, you can always email me on darkshadescounselling@aol.com. That's counselling with 2 L's. Or you can text me on 07309 853 369. That's 07309 853 369. That's if you want to text me something that you want me to talk about. Anyway, and I was going to say only between the hours of 7 until 7 and 9 on a Wednesday, but actually you can do it anytime, and I'll respond to that as and when I can. Anyway, I got a text. This text says, should I change myself in order to keep my man? If he says that he doesn't like the way I have my hair, wigs, weaves, extensions, etc., don't wear makeup, don't entertain other men, say hi or have men friends, the way and what I eat, be submissive to him. So more or less she's saying, should she change who she is in order to change a man, in order to keep her man? That's what it sounds like to me. So what have I got here? I wrote down a few notes before I started to do that because I would like to have something to reflect on. So I could ask, should a man change for a woman? Because it's a similar scenario. Women meet men and they already look on them as a project. They think, oh, they're really nice. But there's this big but. I don't like his clothes. I don't like his shoes. I don't like this. His hair needs to be a different way. I don't like that hat he's wearing. Oh, I wish he didn't have a beard. So they've already started on the project. They like the man, but they've already started on the things in their head, how they're going to change him. So is it any different when a man asks a woman to change? Well, I think it all depends what it is. We can argue that the way anyone meets an individual, that is what attracted them to them, unless they were introduced by someone else. But you'd more or less say, if you met someone and you end up going on a date with somebody, you more or less go out with them because you're attracted to them. But that might not be necessarily so. You might go out with somebody because you see their core qualities. And their core qualities, which is their actual characteristic and personality traits, are attractive. But the way they carry themselves is not. So you might want to compromise and think, boy, I don't mind him. He's really a nice bloke, but boy, that bloody jumper he wears, or those trousers he wears, or those shoes. I can't take him to my mates looking like that. I've got to fix him up. And so you'll find women, they will start buying a man clothes or shoes or all kinds of stuff to make him look like how she would like him to be. And men don't mind that. Men don't mind you buying stuff like that, especially if they like it as well, and you're not trying to change their whole appearance 360 degrees. Men don't mind that kind of change. The change that they don't like is the change that inhibits their freedom. That's what they don't like. If you start telling them they can't see their mates, they can't go down to the pub, they can't watch football, they can't play on their Xbox, then you have a problem. So it all depends on what it is they are asking you to change. If they've met you with wigs, with makeup, with kind of sexy kind of dressing, and then they start telling you, well, I want you to look natural, I don't want you to wear makeup, and I want you to wear these certain kind of clothes. That's a totally different matter. If they're trying to convert you into a plain Jane just so you don't look attractive, that is something completely different. you need to tell them to get on their bike and go and look for a plain Jane. Because what they tend to do, they find these nice women with nice qualities, and sometimes they're really kind of voluptuous and draw attention to themselves, but they don't want anybody else looking at them. So and then meanwhile, when they changed you into a plain Jane, they're out there looking for the glamour pussies, you know, and you're stuck at home looking like ordinary Jane. So, like I said, women do tend to change. I know this is, should I change for my man, or has a man got a right to tell me to wear different wigs, different hair pieces? I've gone out with my fella, and he said to me once, "Oh, I don't like that dress you have on." And I said, "What's wrong with it?" And he says, "Well, I can see your panty line at the back, and it's a bit too clingy. It shows your bulges." So I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, he's right. And I went and put on something else. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And sometimes with my hair, he might say to me, "Oh, I do like that one, but I prefer you in the other one." And there's nothing wrong with that. And likewise, he might say to me, "Oh, I don't know what to put on. Take out what you think I should wear." And I can take out what he would like to wear, or what I think he looks nice in. Because sometimes he has his clothes, but some men don't know how to coordinate very well. And they mishmash, you know what I mean? So sometimes they just need that little woman's touch to kind of make it look good together. And that's why you'll find some people say when a man has a woman, you'll find that they'll say, "Oh boy, you look good. You're a woman, I look after you." Because people outside notice the difference. They notice when someone is paying attention. You could be with your mates and everything, and they don't say a thing. They might be sniggering to themselves and say, "Boy, look what him have on. Him don't know how him don't know how for collar match. Look on him board. Them for dash way." But they're not going to say that to him. But he's going to meet a woman, and she's going to say something because she feels comfortable enough at that point to say, "Look, babes, that need for dash way, and she'll put on, and she'll probably get him a pair of shoes, if anything, and there's nothing wrong with that kind of changing, because we can all benefit by, having a little input, and providing it's not negative and it's not said in a nasty, criticizing way, to put you down. There's nothing wrong in changing for your partner. The whole point of it's about compromise. And you could say, "Well, you met me like this. Why do you want me to change?" But it all depends. It all depends on what they're asking you to change. If they're asking you, like I said, to do a 360-degree turn, or they're giving you a complete makeover, then that is totally different. If they're trying to convert you into something totally different and trying to make you look like a bloody nun, and you're trying to make him look like I don't know what, then that's different. And I don't believe that anybody should change the style of a person. They can enhance the style of that person. If I know my man likes jeans and t-shirts, I'm not going to tell him to go and get a pair of suit trousers. No, get him a nice pair of jeans, a decent pair of jeans. And when it comes to a t-shirt, instead of having one of them look a cheap one from Primark, even though some of them look okay, you might want to get him something with a little bit more, quality. So, and they hang better and they look better. And believe it or not, it's still got a jeans and a t-shirt on, but they look better when you've got on the right kind of shoes, But some men, they go out because it's fashionable. Have you seen those bloody shoes that are pointed and long? And some men think because it's fashionable, it looks good. It don't look good. Some men have those pointed shoes that look like kind of crocodile, and they probably cost a lot of money. They've got them all different colour, yellow, red, blue. Well, I shouldn't say they don't look right, because there are some women who like men in those shoes. So that's not for me to say. I'm at heart, I'm a roots woman. So I like the Clarks. I like that kind of look, the casual kind of bad boy look. I do like the kind of a bad boy look, I do. But it still has to be coordinated and neat. Can't be you know, look, can't look rough and as though you don't take care of yourself, So it's kind of half and half. Like, and I think it's about adaptability where you're going, because that's another thing. Sometimes men will dress a certain way, and they don't know how to dress if they're going somewhere else. So, and you get some men, right? It's okay. They wear these t-shirts. Well, one of these ones with the three buttons, and then them have another jumper on top of it, and then them have another one, and them talk about them cool. Me have to wear them. You're so kind of saying, so why have you got all these different colours on? You know what I mean? Why have you got this one on top of that one and this one on top of that one, and it's three different colour? And they're like, me cool. Say it cool. Well, just buy yourself a decent sweatshirt then. You know what I mean? A thick sweatshirt that's warm. A thick jumper that's warm. And then you probably just need a t-shirt and a jumper. But when you have all these different colours on, and then you think, okay, it's just a mistake. But then you leave them to get dressed if you're going somewhere special. And they don't know how to dress. They've got all kind of different coordinates on. Striped jacket, zigzag shirt underneath, different color. Then they might even put a tie with it if you're not, if in some cases they ain't got a clue. So you know that when you met them, it must be somebody who dressed them. So all I'm saying is that there are certain changes that a female can make to a man that I think are quite superficial. I don't think a woman is going. I mean, I know some men probably think, oh, she's taking control. She's trying to get in charge, and they're afraid of losing their freedom. But I don't think those kind of changes are threatening. I think the changes that are threatening is if you have adopted some bad habits, and those you're going to need to make an ultimatum over. Like say if you're drinking, for example, you've got a drinking problem, and you have a drinking problem, and rather than face a drinking problem, you drink in secret. And so your woman finds out you have a drinking problem, and she says, look, I think you're drinking too much. I don't like the fact that you're drinking. And you're saying to yourself, this is what I love to do. If I'm with a woman, she has to take it or leave it. In that kind of situation, yeah, that woman is asking you to change, but you cannot change unless he's not going to change for you unless he wants to. So there's no point saying to that person, look, I don't like, well, you can say you don't like the drinking, but unless you're prepared to give that person up, there's no point even raising it. You can point out that you don't like it, but it's up to them. But personally, I think if I know that somebody's got a serious drinking problem, as opposed to a binge drinker, which is a bit different, you know the difference, because alcoholics, they'll drink from the morning until the night. Binge drinkers, they'll just drink excessively when they decide to drink, but they know there's periods in the day where they don't drink. It's totally different. But you could argue that you say to your partner, look, I don't like your drinking, and therefore, what are we going to do about this? And they might say, well, this is the way I am. Tough. It's been nice knowing you. And you have to be prepared for that, because that is an aspect of that man's personality he's not prepared to change. That is a part of his behavior that he's going to be stubborn about. So, and that is like when you say to a man, look, I don't want you to spend all night with your friends on a Friday night. I don't mind if you spend a few hours, but when it's all night going to early hours of the morning, I don't like it. They can say to you, lump it or leave it. You have to decide whether or not his other qualities compensate for the fact he wants to see his mates all night. Or is it a trust issue? Do you believe that he's with his friends all night? That's another thing. So sometimes it's about trust. And sometimes it's about whether or not you mind that you don't see your partner. Or especially if you're living together. If you're living together and your partner says, look, I need to, this is the only break I get. And I've been doing this before I met you. and I see my mates and we go to a pub and sometimes we just sit and chat until morning, and this is what I do. And you'd have to decide there and then whether that's okay. Sometimes if it's a gradual thing, and that's the thing, when you're dating someone, it's totally different from when you're living with someone, because when you're dating with somebody, you don't have those kind of, well, you don't feel as though you qualify to say anything, because at what point do you think it's a problem? I think it's about self-management, because while you're dating somebody, if somebody's got a drinking problem or they have to be with their mates and you're dating, it's not really going to affect you because you probably see that person maybe twice a week, or, you know. But then you move up to the next stage and you decide to live together, and that person, you start noticing those habits even more obvious now. And at that point, you could say, look, you know, I really noticed that you really drink a lot. You know, do you have a problem? Or you could say, I noticed that you're still seeing your mates, even though we're still living together. And they're saying, well, this is how I was before I met you. So what do you say at that point? Or should you say, before you move in together, these are the things I don't like? Or are you still going to see your mates every week? Or is it, now we're living together, are you going to be seeing them once a month? See, men might see that as an infringement on their freedom. So they might think, you know, I'm not going to have anybody telling me when I can see my mates. I'm not going to have anyone telling me when I can have a drink. I'm not having anyone tell me when I can have a smoke. But have these things been, at what point do you discuss these kind of things? So, when you're thinking about woman, submit to your man, like the lady says, should a woman change for her man? In the Bible, it says, woman, submit to your man. That's more or less saying, do as your man says, do as you're told, allow him control and power over you. But I think submit to your man in that context just means that you don't override his instructions. And then you have to remember that this was a time when the man was the provider and he had the say so. So it's a bit difficult now to say submit to your man and your man is at home not doing anything. Do you still submit to him? Some women would. Some women say, look, him is a man, never respect him. Depending. You have people who, you have some women and they've got men who are on the dole and their men can still provide for them. And their men, they actually see their men as the head of the household. So I don't think it's about whether or not a man has money, whether a woman should submit to him. I'll use those words. But I think it's more to do with his character and how he behaves in the household and how he commands respect. And I think there's a difference. I think there's some men who command respect and there are some men who don't. And I think the men who command respect through their behavior, whether they have money or not, regardless of their position, there are still men who can command respect just because of their character. And you will find women submit to them. So I think it's an individual choice. I don't think you can make someone change. I think people have to want to change. So if like you're saying that, should I change my wigs? Should I change the fact that I'm wearing makeup and what I'm eating and all that? That's up to you. If you want to change for him, that's your decision. He can't make you change. He can only make the suggestion. You then decide whether or not you want to. And then it all depends on how they say it. You know, them say, if they kind of say, boy, I'm gonna like that here on, you know, go take it off. You know, look good. And you think it looks good, then it's pure argument, isn't it? Why doesn't it look good? You draw attention to yourself. You have me, where you do? You look man. That's what some of them think. If you look good, sometimes they don't want you to look good because they don't want any man looking at you. They take it off. And they want you to put on some frumpy dress. And then when they take you out, they're not even paying you no mind. They're not even paying you no attention because you look like crap. You know what I mean? No. If you think it looks good and if you think it suits you, you wear it. And if they don't want to go out with you looking like that, tough. You have to be prepared to stay at home or go about your business. You go somewhere else with your mates. You don't have to go out with him, but I bet you he still takes you out looking like the way you look because he knows you look damn good. But it just means he can't be off gallivanting because he's got to keep his eye on you. He doesn't want to have to keep his eye on you. He wants to keep his eye on someone else. But when you look good, you have to say, boy, I've got to turn up with her, you know, because I know one could steal her away. She looked too good. Anyway, so yeah, you can be stubborn and decide to wear it, or you can, if you think that he has a valid point, you can decide to change it. It's really up to you. I think as long as clothes are coordinated well, and I think that's the main thing. But like I said, change, that's kind of superficial. I don't think a big deal should be made out of clothes, to be honest. I think, you know, the way he met you, if he met you in tight up clothes and now all of a sudden he doesn't want you to wear tight up clothes, then I think, why don't you want me to wear tight up clothes now? And that's how you met me. And he might say, you know, boy, you know, yes, I did meet you like that, but I don't really think it's appropriate. Now we're in a serious relationship. I really want my woman or my wife to look a certain way. I want people to respect her. So then she might say, so how come you approached me then if I didn't look respectful? Then men find themselves in a little tizzy. Because what is the argument then? Because when you think about it, it's got nothing to do with how a person looks. Like they say, it's what's in a woman's heart, what's in a man's heart. That's what dictates. That's why they say when you go to church, it's not how you look, it's what's in your heart. And that's why people shouldn't judge people how they look. But we live in a superficial world, so people do. So the difference between when a man asks a woman and a woman asks a man to change, are they asking you to change for improvement or control? That's another thing. Is it a control issue or is it to make you look better? Some men say your friends are a bad influence. Have you ever been out with those men that say, boy, I don't think you should talk to that one, you know, because, she ain't doing this and she ain't doing that and she might influence you. And you're kind of thinking, I'm a big woman. How can your friends influence you? You're not like you at school. But some men really think that your friends can influence you. And if the relationship breaks up, they swear blind. It's your friends that caused it, you know. Your friend said something. But the two people, the woman and the friends, have to be in collusion. There's no way friends can influence an individual as an adult unless that person wants to be influenced. So I think some men give friends too much credit when they think that they can influence them. And then some of them, they don't want them to mess around with the friends because they do really think that the friends can change things. Did you ever watch, I don't know if you watched that Eddie Murphy thing where he was talking about that woman. He didn't want a woman to be influenced by the friends and the neighbours. So he went to Africa and he brought back this Zulu woman and she had a bone in her nose and I guess he was trying to make it look like she wasn't attractive. Anyway, he married this Zulu woman and he kept her in the house. And he said at least she'll do everything he wants her to do and she's not going to be influenced by the Western world. Anyway, he went off somewhere and the next door neighbour knocked on the door and she started talking to this Zulu woman and she said, oh, so how is he treating you? This is the next door neighbour woman. And she said, he's not treating me too good. He's not treating me too good. And she said, so do you know you can get half? He said, half? Yeah, you can get half of what everything he's got if he ain't treating you good. Next thing you know, Eddie Murphy comes back. And he's got this woman with a bone in her nose saying, half, Eddie, half. I want half. I mean, I haven't got the accent to do that. But I mean, it is about, it's the same kind of thing about people influencing. And that was a prime example. She got influenced by the next door neighbor. So, versus. Yeah, so you can either, and there's also ways to get change or solicit change or manage change. So you can say, if you don't like somebody in something, rather than say, take it off, you can say, you'd look much nicer in that. You know the dress you did have on the other day? You look really nice in that. So it's a way you say it. It makes me feel uncomfortable when you wear, or I would feel more comfortable with you wearing. So you take the responsibility of why and you explain. So like I said, what are you being asked to change? Is it your core values? Are you being asked to change the way you feel? Because some people can say, I feel really uncomfortable about that. And some people say, oh, you can feel uncomfortable about that. I don't like the way you curse. It makes me angry. What about that makes you angry? That's some mystere. So they're actually telling you not to feel a certain way. That kind of change is who you are. And you should not have to change when you feel affected by certain behavior. So it's not about changing your character or your personality. Most women change men and they don't even realise it. So I've already said that. When men change women, it's usually to make them less flattering so they don't draw attention to themselves. And sometimes it's to make them to look more like a wifey material. Because, men have an image of what they want their wife to look like. And yes, she can look attractive. She can look even elegant and sophisticated. And she can look marginally sexy. But there is a certain look that a man wants his wife to look like. And so that is when they start asking you to change a little bit of this and change a little bit of that. But like I said, it all depends how they ask. And there should be compromise. Now, this change video is going to be in 2 parts. So I'm going to do another part on the same subject, but a different aspect of it. So that's all for now. Otherwise, they go on too long. Bye-bye.